Thank you very much for the presentation, and thank you very much for inviting me and allowing us to come here and to talk to you about athlete performance and how Catapult wants to be involved here in Mexico and really make a change and try to be innovators and help you to innovate also. Because I think that's the whole spirit of this event, is how we can innovate. And we need people within the market, within the clubs, to come to these events, to ask us questions, and we try to help them gain these solutions. So I prepared a short presentation. I'm not going to talk too much because our other guests have a lot of interesting stories to tell. But I'm going to talk about how Catapult and why Catapult are the innovators. And I'm going to show you some key examples of how, in terms of performance, we have managed to innovate and make the difference in sport. Okay? So, who is Catapult? Okay? Important is Catapult, as Arnaud said, we are the innovators, we're the leaders, we are the ones that created this type of technology. So, the type of technology of athlete tracking, we started in 2001. Then in 2006, we created the company. It was used during the Olympics previously to that within field hockey, rugby, and even rowing, okay? So several different sports, not just your typical football clients, okay? Then we started with our first team in 2007, our first team in the NBA in 2009, and 2 years ago, we entered into Australian Stock Exchange to really invest in the company and continue being the innovators in the market. Okay. So today we're the company with the largest development and engineering team. We have 100 employees around the world now trying to promote and innovate within the market. Okay? We have 60 engineers and sports scientists that try to develop the product, that have previous experience in working in the business. So as it was presented, I worked at Benfica for 5 years. I have a colleague of mine that worked in the NBA. I have another colleague of mine that worked with ice hockey. So different environments from sports science where they try to innovate and impact on performance day to day. And they have the experience and interest to help other people do the same. So because of all of these facts, today we have 750 clients worldwide. We work with 35 different sports, and we have 17 now technological patents. So you can see that we work with baseball, basketball, tennis, even football. So even top clients like Andy Murray started using our technology only recently, and only now that he started questioning what he was doing and how he could be doing it better. So being more efficient at what he does. So now I'm going to talk to you briefly about the technology, what are its components, and what its purpose, okay? So it's very simple. You wear this vest, which unfortunately ladies are more used to wearing vests than us, which is good. So you put the unit at the back, and it passes information to your computer. You can see it in real time or after, and it has impact on peak performance, reducing injury, or rehabilitation of players. So we have 3 different types of technology. GPS technology, as you normally know it. We have the GNSS technology, which is an improved GPS and Russian satellite system working together to improve the quality data and improve quality data and positional information that you can get. And then we have a system which was created for indoor and stadium environments, which works through LPS, which is a local positioning system, which is a novelty within this industry and which many are trying to follow. So within this technology, we still have our inertial sensors, which provide different types of information. So when you see here in the sprint, you have different parts of the sprint that might be more relevant to use the GPS technology or use the inertial sensor. So through an accelerometer, a gyroscope, and a magnetometer, we know where the player is, how many movements he does up and down, where is he facing, and what angle he is doing. So it allows us, for example, to have developed a goalkeeper unit, which allows us to quantify dives in goalkeeping, the intensity of those dives, and etc. So you have here an image of Ibrahimovic, which is a very renowned player for his movements, but he has a lot of movements with stop and starts. So these inertial sensors allow us to calculate what is the force that he does when he accelerates and decelerates. Okay. So throughout our 10 years of experience, we've allowed practitioners from the field to make better decisions on data. So when I was at Benfica, I used to take a lot of decisions depending on previous experience, based on books, and I didn't have data to support. So in terms of risk, we talked a lot today about risk. Losing a player in a critical time of the year might be essential, might be critical. You might even lose your job in high performance. Also, preparing a player for games nowadays is very important. With so many games, especially in Mexico being such a big country, and having so many teams when you play, then you have two intercontinental championships where you have to travel lots abroad. So it even increases the stress on players. So having these players fit and ready for that is extremely important. And also returning players from injuries is also another key thing that we've identified throughout the years that we think we can impact. So talking about risk, so we've identified this as a key thing that we can help practitioners and clubs do their performance work. So we've had, for example, the Toronto Raptors. On the first year they started using the system, they used to be the worst team in terms of injuries, and they became the best team in terms of injuries, of preventing injuries. So this is something that we have allowed to help people in the field with information and with data to try to prevent injuries. I have a fingerprint here at the top, which basically the technology has become so sensitive and so accurate at this point that it provides you a fingerprint kind of information. So you know when a player deviates of that, you can expect to manage that player better and prevent risk and injury. Even in basketball, we have the British basketball team, which used our technology during the Olympics. They had 100% of all players, so no players got injured through using our technology and understanding the parameters, which for them was important. And we have here an NFL team, which a director from an NFL team predicted that, or estimated that they saved $10 million in injuries using our technology. So when we're talking about readiness, as I mentioned before, it's all about recover, prepare, and perform. So when you're looking at football, a weekly cycle where you have 2 games, this is a typical English cycle where they give a day off on Wednesday. Most of our traditional Latin clubs, we don't give days off during the week. Maybe we do. It depends on how they work. But it's very important and how you have players ready for this. So I want to show you a video of how basically the technology is being used.
I can't see a time where certainly at Newcastle United Football Club we wouldn't use the system. It's become such a key part of what we do in training now. The equipment is just part of the kit that the players wear. So they'll put the shorts and t-shirt on. They'll put the GPS unit and the heart rate monitor on. The Catapult GPS devices themselves are very, very small devices that sit in between the shoulder blades in a vest that the players wear.
The really exciting thing for me as a scientist working in football with regards to the G5 unit is it possesses additional characteristics that have been built in that will recognise goalkeeper-specific actions. And now that we can actually track dives and goalkeeper-specific sprints and the like, it puts a meaning to the information that we get. So it's not just general information that we're trying to apply to them, it's something that's been produced for goalkeepers as goalkeepers.
For me, you have to be able to affect what's happening during that session to really have an impact on what happens in training. So we use the information in real time using an iPhone. That then gets relayed to the coaches after every drill that we have in that session. We chose Catapult because, for me, I've done a lot of research into the different devices of GPS units. I've always been very, very satisfied about the accuracy and the reliability of the Catapult devices. I would highly recommend Catapult, both from a hardware and a software point of view, from the technology and from the point of view of the company that you're dealing with.
So also talking about our last key point on return from injuries. Here's a graph that you can see and you can produce if your player used it throughout the week, which basically shows the speed, intensity which a player recovered or did several exercises during the week. So when we're having players in rehabilitation, we want to know the different phases that the player has. So when he starts to return to exercise, return to training, return to performance, we want to have averages and data that will allow coaches and staff within your club to take the right decisions to show that when they want to reach a certain parameter or a certain benchmark, they don't go over it and they don't get injured, okay? So now I want to talk to you basically about case study in Australian football. So as you know, the company started in Australia, and the Australian football have been very innovative in this market because they've been trying to find a solution which helps all the clubs, it helps all the key stakeholders in the league. So when you look here at the chart, unfortunately you can't read very well here, but it shows that throughout the years nowadays, we have all the teams, and we started a league-wide deal with all the teams. So why did we start a league-wide deal with all the teams? Is because all the stakeholders, for them, they thought our information and our data we provide to them is useful in every area. So for the league, it's useful to have to improve the quality of the league. For the league, it's important to have their best players on the pitch. So this helps performance in clubs. For example, for media, it allows them to fulfill and complete shows in between the game, before the game, and after the game. For players, it allows them to extend their career and become better athletes and be at a peak performance more often during the season. So the league proposed this question to the clubs: what kind of technology would you like to have, and what kind of technology would make the difference? So they came to us, our clients came to us, they came to the league, and we started using the information different ways and started to testing it, broadcasting it with media, with players, and questioning how valuable this type of information is. So we've installed a local LPS system to try and test and show the value of this product through the different areas, okay? So for example, this is an example of how the Australian Football League uses information and it shares player information at halftime. So the time that the player spent is sprinting, running, and jogging. This is used in also other sports. For example, cricket. Cricket use Audi as an Audi performance tracker, and they use our information to sell content for them, and they sponsor the technology. So this is something that we are doing, and this is happening more and more often. So here I want to show you a video of our local positioning system working at Etihad Stadium in Australia, how it's been feeding into broadcasting, and it's been allowing content for media, but it's also allowing the clubs to have better data and work on their performance. So during real-time information, you can see and you can select, the broadcaster selects what information he wants to see, and it shows it to the customers or to the client. So if they want to see heart rate, if they want to see the distance between players, if they want to see the number of meters the player does, they can see it in real time and they can link it up, okay? So imagine, for example, a referee, he schedules a penalty and you can see his heart rate. Imagine about that. So the other initiatives around this is to improve the game. So they've created a centralized database where all the player feeds into one database, and they see how the league has been changing and been improving throughout the years. So it allows them, from the sports science and performance point of view, to improve the game, but it also allows to improve the rules testing. So if you want to improve the rules of the game within each sport, and you want to make it more attractive, using data to quantify it and show it will be better and will allow you to do that. Or, for example, they use it for umpire tracking. So referees are very important in the game. They've been a lot in football. They're mostly the first scapegoats. So the first criticism normally goes to referees, unfortunately. But if we can improve their physical ability, if we can improve their decision making with work done with fitness, but also technical, this will allow the whole product as a whole to become better.